Chris Gelser here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Rat, Matt and I discuss The Post. Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep. How could that possibly go wrong? We're also going to discuss the latest Netflix horror comedy, The Babysitter. And then finally, we're going to wrap up 2017, not quite with our 10. We're not messing around. Our 10 favorite films of 2017. We just don't think you're ready for that yet. So we're going to ease into it by kind of just discussing 2017 as a whole. And I'm going to practice how to say the word 2017. So let's start everything off, Matt, with a clip from El Posto, which I think is Spanish or Italian.
So, can I ask you a hypothetical question?
Oh, dear. I don't like hypothetical questions.
Well, I don't think you're going to like the real one either.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
Oh gosh, because you know the position that would put me in, we have language in the prospectus.
Yeah, I know that the bankers can change their mind. And I know what is at stake. You know, the only couple I knew that both Kennedy and LBJ wanted to socialize with was you and your husband, and you owned the damn paper. But that's the way things worked. Politicians and the press, they trusted each other so they could go to the same dinner party and drink cocktails and tell jokes while there was a war raging in Vietnam.
I don't know what we're talking about. I'm not protecting Lyndon.
No, you got his former Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara, the man who commissioned this study. He's one of about a dozen party guests out on your
any of them.
patio.
I'm protecting the paper.
All right, Matt. So we have The Post. We have Tom Hanks, as I said, Meryl Streep, directed by Steven Spielberg, music by John Williams, Sarah Paulson, Bob Odenkirk, Bradley Whitford, Bruce Greenwood. I mean, he really lined it up, Matt. He's got everything. It's got a great story. It's timely, right? It's about the Washington Post's publication of the Pentagon Papers, which revealed that the past presidents had been lying about the Vietnam War for decades. And should the Post publish those papers, since Nixon's White House had already put an injunction on the New York Times and prevented them from publishing? What are they going to do, Matt? Because it could end up to the closure of the Post and the arrests of Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. Well, at least their characters, Kay Graham, Ben Bradley. Matt, this has got the makings of a surefire hit, right? I mean, this guy's got Best Picture nomination written all over it. And it's, I think, a story told exceptionally well. But, Matt, what's that but?
It's aight. It's just aight.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's good. It's good. It's certainly timely. This is obviously something about the freedom of the press is something that's kind of rearing back around its head. I mean, as I still wait with bated breath. Have the fake news awards come out yet? I haven't been paying attention.
Oh yeah, they did. They were linked to the GOP's website, which subsequently crashed. But and I think there was a couple things, nothing shocking though. I think Chrissy Teigen acted as a presenter for them, which I thought was pretty amusing. But nothing too exciting there. Shockingly.
Shockingly. So we've seen a lot of good movies. 2017 has been a pretty good year.
Yes.
And it's I hate to say it, this is like just one of those kind of Oscar bait films that it's going to get nominated. As soon as I saw the preview for this, I was like, yep, that's going to be a Best Picture contender. Spielberg's going to be running for Best Director, and Hanks is going to be an actor, and Streep is going to be actress, and all that. But it's fine. It doesn't break any new ground. I mean, it's a story well told, but I think it's going to get lost, swept away. When you think of the best movies of 2017, in a week, and going forward, you're not going to really think of The Post. It's going to be an afterthought, I think.
Yeah, I think the problem for me, it felt like just a string of self-important. I'll get there moments, right? I never really felt like I had a truly compelling narrative here. Don't get me wrong, Hanks. I mean, well, let me retract that. Streep is great in this. I think she does a fantastic job playing Kay Graham, who's the owner of the Post, and I think she has an interesting enough story arc where she's a little unsure of herself. You know, her husband ran the paper, her father before that, and she's kind of feeling herself out, dealing with the chauvinism that people maybe just don't think she has it because she's a woman, that kind of thing. So she kind of comes into her own thing. So I thought that was an interesting and compelling narrative for me. Hanks, so much, I almost felt like he was putting on a performance in this for me. I think I'm at a point where Tom Hanks is just Tom Hanks now. Not Pacino level, you know? He's got a great ass. I mean, he's not at a Pacino level where everything Pacino's in, he's Al Pacino. But I have trouble now seeing past Tom Hanks and everything is. Now, it's just Tom Hanks putting on a voice for me, unfortunately. I think that everybody is aware how important a film they're making while they're making it. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's how this really played out for me. It's this year's, for me, Spotlight, right? I know Spotlight won Best Picture, was it 3 years ago? And though I enjoyed it, I didn't think it was the best film of the year. Mm-hmm. So it kind of had that same feeling for me. That's why I think it's got a real shot, you know? So you got this powerhouse cast. And then I also want to mention who I think the standout in this film for me is Mr. Bob Odenkirk as the grizzled reporter, you know, chasing down the leads. He was probably the most entertaining for me here. But a lot of times it just felt like people just delivering their lines and say, wow, this is really important what we're doing here. That was how I felt. Sarah Paulson, when she has that talk with Tom Hanks, you know, about that's really brave. Putting up, you know, that kind, you know, the whole thing just it was an assemblage of self-important moments for me.
Yeah, it was Spielberg indulging in his worst Oscar bait tendencies. I mean, this is just like you said, this is, if you had a stamp, this would have prestige film in capital P, capital F stamped on the front of it before, you know, on every poster. I'm 100% with you. Although I did like, not only did we get Mr. Bob Odenkirk, but we also got David Cross, his partner on Mr. Show, in a small role. Which, when I heard him speaking, I'm like, oh, did they get David Cross and Bob Odenkirk for this film? But I digress. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine, and it's just one of these. Again, it's one of these things. Something to take your mom to on an afternoon, you know, something to take your grandma to, but and. It's an enjoyable diversion, but it just reeks of the fact of, you know, this is important. This is, you know, timely. Kind of pay attention to this, and I'm 100% with you. I would not. The smart money would be on that. This is going to win Best Picture. I mean, it's a good chance on that.
This has TNT Modern Classic written all over
exactly.
it for me.
Yes, it does.
So it's a great story with some really good performances, and it's a fine film. I was nervous. I got to say, I think it was the first trailer just terrified me that it was, you know, and it's not as bad as that trailer made me think it was going to be, the Oscar bait-iness of it.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty prevalent throughout. So Spielberg does a fine job. Listen to me. Who the hell am I? Spielberg does a fine job. But I think it's the pacing's fine. Maybe I think it stumbles out of the gate a bit in the beginning, but outside of that, it's entertaining enough. Just like you said. It's a good family film. Take your mom to go see it. She'll enjoy it. Everybody have a fine time. But it's like we said, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I'd give it a B. If I'm being honest, I'd have to give it at least a B because it is a very well made film. It's very well acted. It's just it didn't blow me away.
Technically proficient for sure. Yeah, I actually did give it a B plus just because I like the story so much, and I actually like Ben Bradley as a character. We've seen him portrayed in a couple other films. I think probably my favorite would be the Jason Robards from All the President's Men. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a couple of things too that I always thought was interesting. What do you think of the coda of the Watergate break-in at the end of the film?
I thought it was a little heavy-handed to me. It's like, you know, I thought it was a little, I thought it was a little unnecessary.
Because oddly, if you really go into the story, Nixon isn't, how do I put this? Nixon isn't technically really the bad guy
Right.
in the Post, right? He was trying to cover for the past presidents, your Kennedys, your Trumans, your Eisenhowers, your Johnsons. Now, granted, so I felt like the Watergate thing was kind of tacked on more as a, see, trust us, Nixon's a really bad guy.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, he's a bad guy, right? But he also, you know, he founded the EPA. You know, he did some good things. He opened up the trade routes to China. You could say either way if that's good or bad. But I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting little add-on that I don't quite know really mattered. I think it's probably because the end they have the little tagline right before that scene, how it's gonna. I can't even remember how it goes, but can you imagine? Could it get any crazier than this? Right. Oh yeah, that's right. It's gonna, because we got the Watergate break-in.
But does it feel kind of weird, like it's some kind of cliffhanger, like they're setting up for the Post 2 or something like that?
Post 2.
Post 2, now it's real.
The film already exists, and it's a better film than this one.
Yeah, I know.
So, whatever.
We're so angry about this competently acted, well-made film.
And it's because it is funny because, right, you're more disappointed in this than you would be with something that you anticipate is going to be bad than it's bad, because of everybody involved. There's a higher level of expectation, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'm still looking forward to see my boy Sci-Fi Spielberg later in the year, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that runs out. I don't know what you think that film would be made for me. But there's something about it that I feel like it's just going to be an unmitigated mess, right? It's just going to be, because that's what the book is, isn't it? You've read the book.
I have read the book, yeah. It's basically one long string of 80s and 90s pop culture references all thrown together. That's all it is, the whole way. So either you're on board with that or you're not. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I don't think you need someone to put a ray gun to your head to watch this thing. Yeah, I think it's well worth your time. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. That's January 23rd. Matt. Jigsaw. The relaunch of the Saw franchise is coming out. Includes audio commentary with the producers and then a 7-part documentary on the making of the film. I don't really have nothing else to say. Geostorm, starring Gerard Butler, because somebody hijacks a weather satellite and starts to do really horrible stuff. That's getting released as well. Goodbye, Christopher Robin, starring Domhnall Gleeson, as well as Margot Robbie. At the end of the First World War, Matt, beloved children's author A.A. Milne, played by Gleeson, creates the magical world of Winnie the Pooh, which brings him immediate acclaim. But the book's international success comes at a cost to the author, his young son, Christopher Robin, and wife, Daphne, there's your Robbie, in his beautifully filmed, poignant story about fame and family. So there you go. Includes audio commentary by Simon Curtis and Frank Cottrell Boyce. I don't know much about the film. I don't know who did it, and I'm assuming those people are involved in the production of that film because it doesn't tell me who they are. Thank you for your service. The Miles Teller film about the gentleman who comes back from the Iraq War is being released as well. I'm on the fence on Miles Teller. I thought he was great in Whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've been thoroughly unimpressed so far with Miles Teller.
A film that I think we found, how would we describe it, Matt? It was difficult, I think. The Killing of a Sacred Deer is being released on Blu-ray. I think it had some interesting ideas. I think I called it basically Kubrick on Quaaludes. I don't know. I think, you know what? Watch it. Let us know your thoughts. Killing of a Sacred Deer being released. Opera, the Dario Argento film. One of his later films that are still pretty good is being released as a new 2K remaster of the film with over 45 hours of extensive color correction work put into the movie. A rare interview with D'Argento that's never been released here in the States. And a new interview with the star, William McNamara. Shout Select is bringing a Shakedown, the Peter Weller, Sam Elliott cop buddy movie thing. You remember Shakedown at all?
No, I don't.
Fair enough. Includes a new introduction by the writer and director James Glickenhaus, as well as a commentary by him. And then, Matt, being released on 4K for the first time, Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray classic, and then both Cloverfield films Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane will be released on 4K Blu-ray. Did you see the tweet I sent you, Matt, about all the hidden Easter eggs for the Cloverfield films? That I was not aware of any of those. I thought that was pretty interesting.
It was. And, there's for Cloverfield 3, whatever it ends up being called, and whenever it ends up coming out, there's actually an alternate reality game marketing campaign going on right now. People have discovered it. It's out there. Although I haven't looked into much what is going on with it.
Interesting. All right. So, Matt, your straight to DVD pick of the week is The Sword and the Claw.
Okay.
Matt, they took his money. They took his family. And now they've taken his hands. But they can never take his revenge. Exploding from the same hallucinogenic netherworld as Turkish Star Wars, The Sword and the Claw stars Turkish genre legend Cüneyt Arkin in his most iconic role as Conan the Barbarian meets the Three Stooges meets Dolomite, with more lo-fi, bloodshed, pop art visuals, and bizarro dubbing than the boundaries of reality can handle. The Sword and the Claw. In the picture of it, Matt, in the case, he doesn't have hands. He has these. I don't know. I can't quite make it out.
Does he have a sword and a claw for a hand?
I think so, but it was hard to see.
Sword and a claw?
It is absolutely crazy looking. I may have to track this one down. So what should we be streaming this week?
All right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. This is only available to HBO Go, so HBO subscribers. But I figured there's enough people because of our of Game of Thrones that may be out there that have HBO Go. But one of our favorite B movies of the year, Split, is available for streaming. A low-key sequel to Unbreakable. It essentially stars James McAvoy as a man who has multiple personalities, and each one of them is working in service to something that we've never seen before called the Beast, and he kidnaps some kids and has them locked in his basement, and they try to escape. It's a very good little B movie, which I think we have discovered. I think we agree that that's really M. Night's wheelhouse. That's what he should be doing going forward.
I believe filming is wrapped for the new film.
Oh, really?
I think so, or they just started. One of those two. Either way, it's happening, baby. We'll see. I still have to watch Unbreakable again. I still haven't churned that sucker out.
You know what I want to watch again? I want to watch the Happening again. I want to see if I.
That thing is so bad.
It is so bad, but I think I want to see it again just to laugh at it a little bit.
I honestly think that if I had to choose a career ending, I would go with Wahlberg's in that over Shyamalan's.
Okay.
I think his performance in that is so colossally bad that if I had to choose one, if I had to go, you're fired, I think I would go with Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So. It's pretty bad.
I think so. Mm-hmm. It's sublime. It's so bad.
But what would we have been denied if we had kicked out Wahlberg, the fighter?
That's a good point. Let's see what he's done since then. Let's find out together, kids. All right, come on, Jimmy. Jimmy's our intern. He's looking it up for us right now. Jimmy, drummer. Filling up the time. All right, here we go. The Happening, 2008. Since then, we would not have gotten, or at least he would not have been in these roles. Ooh, I may have to retract. We would lose Max Payne.
Okay.
The Lovely Bones. Date Night. Here's when we run into trouble. The Other Guys.
Oh.
And The Fighter. So I don't know if I want to lose those two films.
Yeah.
No, I could jettison everything since then. You got Contraband, Ted, Broken City, Pain and Gain, Two Guns, Lone Survivor, Transformers, The Gambler, Mojave, Entourage, Ted 2, Daddy's Home, Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day, Transformers again, Daddy's Home 2, All the Money in the World, and I guess Mile 22, which I don't know about. I could lose every one of those and I'd be all right. Ted's fine.
Ted's fine. Wow, he really had a good run after The Fighter. It's really been downhill.
I haven't seen Lone Survivor, which is supposed to be pretty good.
Right. I did see Lone Survivor. It was okay.
How was it?
Yeah. It was okay. It was pretty good. I saw Daddy's Home the other night too, which wasn't bad either. I mean, it was okay.
2 as in numero 2 or 2 as in TOO? You saw the first one?
I saw the first one.
Okay. Either way, I don't know if I want to give up The Other Guys. Really, out of all of those, The Other Guys may be the keeper. And in fact, as I'm going through this, it would be Boogie Nights, Three Kings, and the other guys, I think. Oh, of course, in The Departed. Hello. Oh, he is great in The Departed, I have to admit. Now, there's a director who knows how to harness an actor.
That's right. That's very true. He knows what they're good at.
Yeah, P.T. Anderson as well. Right? He knows how to harness his actors. I mean, clearly, Dana Day-Lewis would be nothing if it wasn't for Paul Thomas.
Nothing. He would have been nothing.
All right. Matt, let's move on.
Let's
talk about... Oof. Listen, before we get into this, I want to tell you something, Matt. You know who... Did you catch this? Did you see who directed the Babysitter?
At the end, I didn't know that going into it, but when I saw that first pop, I was like, it all makes sense now.
So we'll talk about all of that after this brief clip. This brief message from the Babysitter Council.
So you're basically saying intergalactic dream team on a mission.
Yeah. So there's an epic villain, right?
Right.
Okay. So you have to fill a starship full of the best people or aliens or robots to take them down.
How many seats have I got?
5.
5?
6 if you need like a duo, but you can't have like Predator and the Xenomorph together because they'd fight and the mission would be futile.
No, okay, I get it. All right, 1, Kirk. 2, Picard. 3, Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum from Independence Day. 5, Ripley. And 6, are you ready for this shit? A Xenomorph egg.
No way.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, here's the plan. Kirk and Picard team up to Captain. Then when they get close, they send in Will and Goldblum to get inside the lair because they have experience with that shit.
Fair.
Now, this whole time, Ripley's been bitching about the Xenomorph egg and shit because that's her move. But she knows she gotta do this because it's the only way to save the world.
The universe.
Right, exactly. So, Will and Goldblum get her inside the lair. Ripley personally drops off the egg. The facehugger attacks the big bad. Ripley makes it back to Will and Goldblum. The big bad attacks them. They narrowly escape. Kirk and Picard supply cover as the spacecraft returns home. Then they peace out of there. Meanwhile, big bad starts feeling like shit. And he's out.
Earmuffs, kids. By the way, there's a few S-bombs in there.
Guess I'm free to curse all I want. Explicit tag is out the door.
I tried to find a bunch of clips. Every clip I found had some type of profanity, and that was the mildest out of all of them. What I should have done is I should have just played the movie and pulled it directly from the film. I can do that. I have magic powers. Well, Jimmy can, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right, good. So, Matt, why don't you tell the folks there traveling on their planes to their new destinations to restart their lives if they have to escape the crushing oppression of their families? What is The Babysitter all about?
So it's a story of a bullied young man named Cole. He's pretty meek, gets picked on at school, and is basically a scared little kid, or tween, I guess. And he has a crush on and a good relationship with his babysitter, who is named B. Who's come over to babysit him while his parents are out of town, and his friend down the road decides to convinces him to stay up and spy on her after he's supposed to be asleep, and he finds out that she is having some kind of occult satanic ritual with some of her friends, and madness ensues from there.
There you go. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Matt. Who directed this movie?
Frickin' Mick G.
Mick G, folks, of Charlie's Angels fame, and then was handed the Terminator franchise and almost drove it into the ground. But we waited and decided to do that with the next relaunch instead. So Mick G's, listen, I'm sure he's a great guy, but his film, for me, he's kind of a, how do you put it? Is he like he's like a Michael Bay.
Right.
But more reserved, I guess, if there's... I'm trying to think of a better way to describe that. So I got to work out the beats on that. Either way, I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. Joseph McGinty Nickel. Did you know that? I did not know that. Well, that's McGee. So he returns with this Netflix original film, The Babysitter. And Matt, I'm going to say something to you, and I want to gauge your reaction and tell me what you think.
Okay.
This is my favorite horror comedy since Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Is it?
It is.
Wow. Wow.
I laughed my hinder off with this thing.
Your hiney?
I did.
Wow.
I thought it was hilarious. Maybe a little short on the scares,
Yeah.
but the violence and the gore were there for sure.
Mm.
So I think it delivers on those levels. Like Tucker and Dale wasn't really scary. It was more violence, gore, and laughs.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, Matt, this was a lot of fun. I think Samara Weaving, who plays B, and then, of course, our boy Judah Lewis, who plays Cole, are great in this. They absolutely are committed and nail it. You know, too, I get wishy-washy on Robbie Amell.
Yeah.
I think this is the best performance I've seen out of him. He is a ton of fun in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exceptionally, I think, it's a smart script, and it's just a lot of fun. I think if I had any issues with it, maybe the conclusion with the car. I don't know. Maybe where I felt like maybe we're not quite sure how we're going to end this thing, so let's have a big boom boom.
Yeah.
Not like the poopy kind, but like a crashing kind. And I don't know. It's a tight 80 minutes, Matt. It's hilarious. And it also has there's also a kind of a sweet coming of age story kind of wrapped up into this thing too.
Sure.
That totally works. So, you know what? Kudos, McGee.
Yeah.
Golf clap. Kudos. I rather enjoyed this thing, Matt. You agreed with me, didn't you?
I do agree with you. It is actually a pretty fun. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting much of this. I didn't really have a lot of background into it. But you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. It doesn't stick every scene. That's a terrible sci-fi list, by the way. Anything putting Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum on any Save the World list is automatically invalid because that movie is terrible. One of the biggest disappointments of my life as far as films go. But I like you said, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was particularly well acted. I think you can kind of get behind everybody. There's really not a bad character in the thing. I mean, Bella Thorne ranting about her boob is just hilarious the whole time. I thought that was freaking really funny. I thought I was pleasantly surprised. Although, to be fair, I don't really like horror comedy at all.
Mm-hmm. It can be tough to pull off.
It can. And that's a low bar to clear as far as I'm concerned. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is fantastic, but I can't even think of the last one in between Tucker and Dale and this that I thought was that good. But yeah, I think that's right up there. It's very good.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I was going into this thing thinking like, well, you know what? It's probably just going to be okay, but it actually is really good. I almost think this could have got a theatrical release. Yeah. I enjoyed it that much. I know this is a weird kind of genre that I guess doesn't always seem to work in the theaters, right?
Right.
You got to go full on spoof like Scary Movie,
right?
Or you get stuff that sits in limbo forever, like Cabin in the Woods. That's not because of the quality of the film, though. That was more of a distribution kind of company bankrupt rights issue. But you got your stuff like Zombieland, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And then probably what's the outside of Shaun of the Dead, I would have to say probably the pinnacle of this is American Werewolf in London. I think those two are the top dogs. Dead Alive, I don't know.
Evil Dead series?
Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Evil, not the first one.
No.
But you're right. Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
You're entirely right, Matt. Gremlins, Beetlejuice. You know what, too? I always forget about Slither. Slither is a lot of fun, too. That's one of James Gunn's first films, your Guardians of the Galaxy director. So, still, I think a worthy addition to this genre. A lot of fun. On Netflix right now. Check it out. Like I said, lots of profanity, some well-executed gore, just as a heads up to everybody if you're not into that kind of thing, and some really strong performances, particularly by our two leads. And Robbie Amell. Good on you.
And Robbie Amell. Yeah. Good for you, Robbie.
Firestorm. All right. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. What's your grade for The Babysitter, Matt?
I'm going to give it a B+. I know I gave it higher. It's a higher grade than The Post, but it's not like it's in the same category. Yeah.
Everything. I think we've established that we kind of grade in genre for the most part.
Sure.
And I agree. I have a B+ as well. So that's 2 B+ for me this week. And there you are. All right, Matt. Let's move on. Next week is our big 2017 closer. We're going to tell you the top 10 films of 2017. Will Justice League make Matt's list? No.
Sure. No, it will not.
The thing is, will it make mine?
It better not. We're gonna argue. I feel like we're gonna have an argument on some of this, even if it's not even the films. It may be just the placing on some of these. I think.
Quite possibly. So, but that's a teaser because next time, Matt, we're just gonna have a general wrap up. We're gonna discuss 2017 as a whole. So let's get into all of that, and let's hear a clip from, I don't know, a pretty good movie from last year. Might make both of our top 10s. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna dissolve the show. So take a listen.
This is Nielsen and Elisa.
Hey, how you doing?
So, how handsome is he?
Are you handsome? Oh.
Not bad. Hey, Nielsen. So, is it true? Is it better?
Wow.
Such a quick little clip from Jordan Peele's Get Out. For me, Matt, a couple things. So we're going to discuss a couple things here, Matt. First off, we're going to talk about the biggest surprises, biggest disappointments. I think we'll name what we think is the worst film of last year, or at least the one that got me the angriest, which is always fun, and a bunch of other stuff too. That's just a lounge, just free form. We're going to kind of just talk. But do you want to do the contest first, Matt? You want to just get that out of the way? You want to rip off the Band-Aid?
Fine. So, Phantom Thread. I set it up at 95, which was a foolish bet. I should have gone to 90. Chris was actually under 90, which was obviously stupid. But since we're doing Privacy is Rights rules, came in at 92. So I lose. I owe Chris a gift card to AMC and a chain restaurant of his choosing, as long as I can get a gift card of it, so he can go out and either eat a lot by himself or go out on a date with his wife.
There you go. If you want, maybe we can discuss it off the show. You can just roll it all into one. That might be better. I don't know. Just do the AMC. We'll talk about it. But I did indeed win. It was close. I was getting really nervous. I think that 95, though, with the Price is Right rules was your fatal error.
It was my fatal error. I was very confident, and it was foolish. It's hubris. Pride goes before a fall. And there I am on the bottom.
But hey, they went down to the last film, which is what we were hoping. So that
it did. That is good. And we have all of Justice League being so mediocre to thank for that.
Yes. It's good to be the king. All right. Matt, let's start everything off. Since we already played the clip, I want to talk about it. That, for me, I think Get Out was the biggest surprise of this year.
Okay.
I saw the initial, I remember seeing the initial trailers, thinking, oh, that looks pretty good. But again, horror comedy, a tough genre to hit. And I think this is more horror than comedy. You know, I think the social commentary alone. There are some funny moments. Is it weird? I was debating this last night. Because if I clearly don't consider Get Out a horror comedy.
Yeah. Because
it would clearly be better than The Babysitter.
Right.
And the best horror comedy for me since Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But I don't look at Get Out as a horror comedy.
Yeah.
I look at it as a horror film with some funny moments, right? Because the focus, I don't think the focus is 50-50 laughs and horror, right?
No.
I don't know. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I mean, it's essentially what you just said. It's a serious horror film that has a few kind of nervous laughs in it, you know, but I mean, it's not something like Tucker and Dale or The Babysitter, which is supposed to be more funny than it is scary. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be a tense film. It's supposed to be more of a straight up horror film. And I wouldn't even classify this as a horror comedy if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, all the laughs come pretty much from his TSA buddy friend.
That's right.
Who is an exceptionally well performed and written character. One of my favorites, probably of the year. I'd have to go. I would go with the bodyguard from I, Tonya.
Okay.
As well as one of my favorite characters of the year.
That guy was awesome.
Anyway, so that's, I think for me, the biggest surprise of this year would be Get Out. And I'd probably go close number 2, not surprise in quality and enjoyment, just holy S, would probably be Split. Because I had no idea what it was.
That's true. Split was a good one. Yeah. So I'm going to go a little more mainstream. I think for me, and I think if you thought about it, this is probably true for you. I think the biggest surprise for me was Thor Ragnarok, because I just didn't expect it to be that good.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, what do you mean? Absolutely no. You wouldn't put that on your list, or it wasn't a surprise that it was that good.
A surprise. Taika Waititi. I had no after seeing What We Do in the Shadows, Matt. Hunt for the Wilder People from last year was my number 3 film of the year.
I understand.
So it was not a surprise for me that it was that good.
I think it is. If we go back, luckily we have hundreds of podcast episodes for posterity. I think if we go back and we talk about Thor, you were hedging your bets quite heavily. You were like, it's what but it's a Thor film. I really not liked all the Thor films. I can't get behind this. I expected it necessarily to be good, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
I have paper evidence right here, Matt. My Rotten Tomatoes score projection was 90%. If I thought it wasn't going to be that good, why would I have chosen 90%? I knew Taika Waititi was going to pull it off. I think the issue I said was my focus in the discussions, if I recall correctly, and I am never wrong. If I recall correctly, it was more, I can't believe I'm actually going to be excited for a Thor film. And I think that's what my surprise for, like, I don't think surprise is the right word for that. That I was just shocked, or I did not anticipate being excited for a Thor film. But once Taika Waititi's name was attached, I was like, wow, is this actually going to be good? And it was. No surprise.
Well, I think you're wrong. I think you're 100% wrong, but whatever. It was a lot better than it had. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I expected to like it. I just didn't expect it to like it as much as I did.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I have two different. I think there's 2 different categories. You can tell them if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
I think worst film and biggest disappointment are 2 different things.
Yes, definitely true.
So
yes.
Choose one and then give me your answer.
Biggest disappointment. Let's go ahead and tear off the Band-Aid. Obviously, Justice League. I wanted to like this movie as much shit as I give Chris about Marvel versus DC, the distinguished competition, as it were. I want these films to be good. I mean, just because I prefer one over the other doesn't mean I don't like Batman or Superman or the Green Lantern or the Flash or any of that stuff. I want these to be good, and it's breaking my heart that they're just middling to not good for the most part. So I don't know, man. I mean, Wonder Woman was a good, solid film. I don't think it's as great as everybody makes it out to be, but I'm very nervous about the DCEU. I was really disappointed in what Justice League ended up being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the biggest disappointment of the year is it is, you're entirely right. It's Justice League. It's weird watching out of that thing when, in one hand, it's not as bad as I thought it could have been.
Yeah, faint praise. Continue.
But oddly, and I'm not one of these crazy people, though you would assume I am, and I think it's a fair assumption to make. I feel that I'm almost curious. I would like to have seen Snyder's real version of this film.
Okay. And
if it would have been better. It's just that tonally, it's such a hard right turn. You know,
right.
They overcompensated for the film. It's entertaining, right? Justice League is an entertaining movie. I enjoyed it. I'm going to buy the 4K of this thing. I'm going to watch the hell out of it. I've seen Batman vs. Superman 12 times.
Ugh, I didn't know you were a masochist.
I like the director's cut of that thing. There are some good moments. When Wonder Woman drops down and saves Batman and that theme kicks in. Oof. Here's the problem. They just made a couple mistakes. The lightening up of the film is fine. It's good. I think initially I thought bringing in Danny Elfman to do the score was a good idea, except it wasn't. It's a middling, forgettable score, and we'd established some pretty good themes for our main stars already. I don't know. It's a bit of a mess. It's enjoyable, and even though my expectations were low, I have to say I think Justice League was a disappointment for me.
It'll be okay.
Number 10 film for the year, though, box office wise.
Was it?
Did you know that? Number 10?
No, I did not know that.
Domestically.
Domestically. All right.
All right.
So what's the worst film? What's the
worst film for me? I think I go back and forth in this. I'm not 100% sure. I think the one that let me rephrase it. I think I'm forgetting something. You know, like I hated Baywatch. Let's be clear, you know. But I think in the end, I think King Arthur was frustrating as hell.
Oh yeah.
But I think in the end, I gotta go Valerian. I think Valerian is the one that got me the angriest.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That one just is. First off, I think we've talked about this before. We need to have a discussion about Dane DeHaan, or however I'm supposed to say it. Yeah. I don't know if he can carry a film.
Right.
He could cross the Tatum line at some point. He was also in The Cure for Wellness.
Yeah.
Gore Verbinski's kind of gothic horror misfire.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he has it. I have no interest. If I see his name pop up, like, oh, I think I'm good.
Nah, I'm cool.
He was good in Chronicle. Everybody enjoyed Chronicle, but that film seems to have been a one-off possibly for a few people, including Trank, the director, who lost the Star Wars film after that Fantastic Four just disaster.
Yeah.
So, but Valerian was so frustrating. It had some fun visuals and maybe some interesting ideas and then we're just going to star two people that have absolutely no chemistry together. I was watching Cousins, and it was a marvelous film to look at. That when I was done, I wanted to pour bleach in my eyes. So the villains were cardboard. They were nothing. It was just a disaster. It was just a horrible film, and it got me really upset. If you want to go back and listen to that show, it's a humdinger because I hated this thing so much.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I wanted to see Valerian because Luc Besson I think is an interesting director, but I didn't see it because Chris hated it so much, and he was like, just save your money, just don't do it. So I can't even weigh in onto this because I have avoided it thus far, even though I think it's out on DVD now.
Oh yeah, I think it is. Episode 362, Atomic Blonde and Valerian. Oh, and The Little Hours, which is a vastly different and exceedingly better film. But yeah, episode 362, if you want to hear my thoughts on Valerian.
All right.
I forgot you hadn't seen Valerian.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because you told me not to.
You just watch it.
All right.
I'm curious to see what you're going to say. Waste your time.
You're like, damn it, you waste your time. So I was thinking about this. The films you rattled off were not good. Baywatch is not a good film. Cure for Wellness was not a great film. But the one that immediately leapt to mind that I thought was pretty unexcusable was The Snowman, which was just a complete disaster.
I totally and you know what? You totally forgot. You're entirely right. I gave Valerian a D and Snowman an F.
Yeah.
It is The Snowman. See, I told you I was going to forget. I just should have looked at the report card, and there it is. So I don't mean to derail you. So yes, talk about Snowman, and then I will throw some more vitriol at it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, please. This is just this is the thriller based on the Norwegian crime writer Joe Nesbo's novel. It's got Michael Fassbender in it. And we like Fassbender. He's a good. He's a great actor. But everything about this is just a muddled mess. I mean, it's not scary. I think he's kind of going for a Silence of the Lamb kind of thing, and it just fails miserably in every respect. And story makes no sense. It's just bad. It's just and it's really disappointing because you can tell that they were trying to make this into kind of like a franchise for Fassbender, and it just ain't happening.
No, it's a disaster. Yeah. And I love that the poster became like a meme. It shows up every now and then. If you're not familiar, the poster's got like the little crudely drawn snowman, and they're writing about Mr. Police. You could have saved her. I gave you all the clues, except you didn't. There are no clues in this thing. It makes no sense. And the final reveal, who the killer, it's kind of like, well, who are we going to make the killer? Who are we going to make the killer? We can't just have it be nobody. So, well, how about Jimmy? All right, let's make it Jimmy. So that's what it was like. It was just a disaster, and it is easily the dumbest film I have seen in years. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot The Snowman and what. Well, then you know what? It's fine because Valerian stunk too, and they both need to be shamed.
They do. Public shaming.
Yeah,
we're shamed on them later.
And Val Kilmer. How great is Val Kilmer?
I know. He's great in air quotes because he's terrible, but it's fun terrible.
Now I don't know if he was still recovering because he had a cancer scare, right? And he had he was getting treatment and still, I think, recovering. I wonder if that was the reasoning for the voice he puts on.
Right.
So if it is, I apologize, Val. I'll go watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang a couple times again and marvel at your performance in that. Or I'll watch Spartan again, a criminally underrated mammoth film that he is quite good in, though maybe kind of falls apart at the end. But The Snowman is just a debacle. If you hate somebody, have them watch this film. And you know what? Build it up too. You like thrillers. You like real mysteries. You
like Fassbender.
Who done it? Who doesn't like? Yeah, Fassbender's the man. You got to watch this and then just giggle quietly to yourself as you walk out the door. You could have saved your friend. You gave them all the clues.
They told you they shouldn't have trusted you.
So bad. God, the Snowman. All right. Is there anything you didn't see that you wanted to, Matt?
Yeah, I do have a list. Some of it you've been trying to get me to see.
What'd you miss? Yeah.
So I haven't seen Molly's Game. I never saw Personal Shopper, which you were quite taken with. Yes. Never saw The Florida Project either, which you also have talked about quite a bit. So I need to get on that if I can. The Girl with All the Gifts. That's actually available, I think, on Amazon Prime. It's been one that I've been meaning to watch.
What is it?
The Girl with All the Gifts.
Oh yeah, yep.
Hostels, which I'm a fan of Westerns, but that's very technical because it just technically came out at the very, very end of last year. And Brigsby Bear, I was curious about. I don't know why. I hear it's not particularly good, but I still kind of want to see it.
I heard it was pretty good. That's on my list. I have Brigsby Bear as well. Mudbound, which is on Netflix, that I've been dragging my feet on. I haven't watched that yet. Yeah. And then, as I said, The Villainous, we talked about off air, which I'm gonna, which is a Korean, revenge martial arts thriller. Okay. That's supposed to be pretty good. So, oh yeah, and Blade of the Immortal, Matt. Takashi Miike's latest film, which I'm kicking myself for not having seen yet. So I want to check that out as well. I don't know if I'm gonna try and fit that in before the next show too. I don't know how.
I know we're basically gonna have to take a week off of work. Take a week off of work to catch everything that we didn't see.
Right. Exactly. All right. Anything else then? General topics, Matt. Open to the floor. Go ahead.
So what do you think about our boy Denise saying Dune is going to be a Star Wars for adults?
I did not hear about that. That works for me.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar so much with Dune. I know it's about spice trading and, like how cool the Star Wars prequel films were when they were talking about economics and trade and stuff. I mean, that stuff was thrilling. So I'm sure we'll let it's Dennis Villeneuve. Who's shooting that thing? Do we know? Is it Deakins again?
I don't know.
Listen, I think that we are both all in Dennis Villeneuve's work at this point.
We are.
So I'm excited to see it. Will it be a Star Wars for adults? Is that a dig at Star Wars fans?
I think it
judging how they reacted to The Last Jedi. Yeah, I think it is, and you deserve it.
Hey. I was on the fence for a while about The Last Jedi. You just hold your horses there, champ.
Anyway, it's Villeneuve doing science fiction. If you want to know how good it's going to be, watch Blade Runner 2049. All right? It's going to be great. So, yes, I think I'm excited about it. When does it come? Is it going to be out next year, or is it like 2019?
So. I think it's,
or this year?
Next year.
I should say?
No, I think it's next year, yeah.
Keep forgetting it's 2018 already. How do you feel about that? Is it a dig at you?
No,
Star Wars boy?
No, it wasn't a dig. I mean, I think that's kind of a bold statement because Dune is a very kind of cerebral, hard sci-fi philosophical book. And I think David Lynch kind of took the philosophical aspects of it and really ran with it and made it really confusing. So trying to compare it to Star Wars, which is, very space opera-y and light, I don't know how they're going to do that with Dune, so I'm kind of interested to see how he pulls that off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. No, it should be good. It'll be good. I'm not worried about it. Matt, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about this whole Star Wars men's cut thing? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't watched it just because I don't even want to give it the clicks. It's stupid. I don't even see what the point is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. What is it, like 30 minutes long too, or something like that? It's like 30, 40 minutes long.
Although I will say this, I like I said, I haven't watched it, but I did read a headline where Star Wars men cut, take all the women out. It's however long it is. Leia killed in the first 10 minutes, and I would have liked that better with Leia getting killed the way that she did instead of Space Jesus saying back into the friggin' bridge. I think it would have been more powerful if she had gone out that way. But other than that, I digress.
I think maybe as a death for Leia. I don't have an issue with Leia Jesus. I think Ryan Johnson addressed this when we can talk about the Force projection too, which he addressed, I think, brilliantly on Twitter this past couple days. But the whole point is she's in space. There's no resistance. You're going to tell me that in no way in the intervening 30 years she didn't practice any Jedi stuff or learn anything? Isn't that the end of Jedi? Like Luke's going to teach her a couple things.
I'm not upset by the fact that Leia has Force powers. I think it's always been implied that she has Force sensitivity. She can sense Luke, and his emotions over vast distances. While things are happening, she can sense the implication from the first film or The Force Awakens that she can sense when Han dies. So I think her having Force powers isn't what bothered me. It was just so stupid and unnecessary. Like, I don't know why they had to do it that way, because the bridge blows up. She's completely unhurt, is out in the vacuum of space, opens her eyes, and then flies back in. It is dumb. It's not the fact that she has Force powers. Just the whole scene is just stupid. And going into this, I knew, and I had seen the trailers and everything like this, and I know Carrie Fisher had died, and I'm like, well, how are they going to do this? Kind of thing. And then when I saw her get blown up, I'm like, holy crap, they just killed her right there. Like, that was awesome. Like, I thought that was a really powerful way to do it, with Kylo not being able to do it and his troops doing it for him. But then Space Jesus, and it just undercut the whole thing for me.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what they're going to do in the third film too, since Carrie Fisher has passed. And then the whole Force projection thing, supposedly. So on Twitter, Ryan Johnson did a little picture story and showed that he has a couple Jedi books, right? He's got a Jedi and a Sith kind of text that describes their abilities and powers. He pulls it up and opens up and shows where it says that they can do a projection of themselves across distances or something like that. Right. So it wasn't like something he just made up on his own and wanted to insert.
Mm-hmm. And all these people who are all up in arms about the EU being jettisoned, it's from the EU. So, whatever, man.
There you go.
All right, what else? What do you feel about Indiana Jones 5? Are they going to kill him off? Is he going to die in this one? Is Harrison
so. You know what? No, I don't know. I just want him to retire and work in. I don't know. Does he have to go out, or can he retire and work in a museum?
It was perfect his going out, literally riding off into the sunset in the third one, but then of course they ruin it.
Well, I guess supposedly they had always planned to make a fourth one, right? Mm-hmm. But Lucas was so focused on wanting aliens in it, and Spielberg is like, no, we're not doing that, no. And then they couldn't come together about that, and eventually I guess they said, all right, let's just do it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. You know what they should do?
What?
No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. I said they should tie it in that him and Han Solo are related, but it's in a galaxy far, far away, so that wouldn't really make sense.
Space genetics flung across the galaxy.
That's it. Hey, we all came from Stardust anyway, right?
There you go.
Is that one of the working theories? Is that we evolved from an asteroid that crashed on this planet from the
Dagobah system?
That's right. Could very well be.
Yeah,
maybe from whatever planet Han's from.
Yeah, Corellia.
Where is Han from?
He's from Corellia.
Is he?
Yeah.
Nerd.
We are nerds.
I don't have much left, man. We talk about the box office being down 6% from last year, but I think the summer had a very poor performance. A lot of they thought tentpole films didn't really do well at all. Ticket prices are up though, which means I think fewer people are going to the theaters. Is that just people are tired of going to the theaters and they want us to watch stuff at home, or is it more a sign of a lack of quality in releases? Combination of both? I don't know. But I think the big thing for 2000 and feel free to weigh in on that, but I think the big thing for 2017 is the Harvey Weinstein thing.
Oh, yeah,
I think that is the biggest story in Hollywood for 2017. And the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement as well that's in Hollywood right now. I think it's changed the industry for the better. And not having a Weinstein presence in Hollywood will be interesting.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can just flush the rest of these a-holes out of the business and really, I don't know, just protect these people and do some good work. So, I don't know. I think Weinstein for me ends up being the biggest story of last year.
Oh, definitely. Easily. It really brought it shook the whole thing down to its core. And, even now, long overdue, but people are saying that they're not going to work with Woody Allen anymore. I haven't heard any rumblings about Roman Polanski. People still do, work with him. He still has movies released, it's been a while.
Been a while.
So it has been a while. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Although, the whole thing is all of it's just crazy. I mean, you read this thing with Aziz Ansari, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that at all. I mean, clearly, I think what he did was wrong. I think clearly he's pushing himself. I'm sure he has an expectation, right? I mean, that because he's a star, he can kind of just do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what should happen to him. I mean, I guess he's qualified to be president, but I don't know. That whole thing. I like Aziz, and now what am I going to think of when I watch my wife and I were thinking about doing a Parks and Rec thing and watching them from the beginning because we did that with 30 Rock.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know about the Aziz Ansari thing. I've seen two different perspectives on, in the media about it. And how they shouldn't conflate it with the Weinstein thing, that maybe it's a little too far, or maybe I can't figure that one out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to step into that fray. I really don't know. I don't know.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
Good. It was a trap for you. It was a trap for you. Is really what I wanted. I just really wanted your opinion. And then I guess finally, let's end this on
I'll just say briefly, you should be able to read people a little bit better. All right. I don't know if he's just blinded by his fame, but you should be able to read the signals a woman's giving you, I think, a little better than that. Just be aware, folks. All right, guys, pump the brakes. Maybe take them out to dinner and then maybe not try and go for it in the first night. How about that? Let's just take it easy. How about that? And then we don't have these issues, and just don't be an a-hole. Be respectful and call it a day, I guess, is what I'll say.
So speaking of a-holes, have you seen this? We'll end on a light note here. So have you seen this new trailer from Danny McBride for Crocodile Dundee sequel?
No, I just heard of it. They shot this thing in secret. I just saw last night.
Is it real? Could this be real? Could this be real? Is this a real thing, or is he just messing with us?
I don't know. I hope it's real.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
I have to see. Is there a trailer out there?
Trailer. I mean, they show nothing in the movies. It's just him in the outfit talking in an American accent about a knife, and it just says Dundee.
I really hope so. I just saw, like I said, a tweet of it. That's all I saw. So I'll have to check that out. But I would love to see that. I'm excited for his Halloween film coming up this year with David Gordon Green. But anytime any of those guys do anything, I know we're both really excited for the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Sherlock Holmes movie coming out at the end of the year too. So I have no idea. We'll see. Good times.
Good times.
All right, that's going to be it, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
There's your big wrap up. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. What do you think was the biggest thing about Hollywood in the movies last year? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Next week, Matt, it's a big old show. It's going to be a double sizer, I think. It's going to be a long one, so prepare yourselves. We're going to talk about Phantom Thread. I'm going to see The Commuter. We may talk about Call Me By Your Name. And then we may also, or later down the week, who knows, a little indie film that you can rent for 99 cents right now. If you can, a little spoiler of my thoughts about it, called Princess Sid, available on Amazon and iTunes right now for $1. Watch it this weekend.
Okay.
We may talk more about that next week. If not, it'll definitely be the week after. So that's going to be the big show for this week. Matt, everybody, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Love to hear your thoughts about the show. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, thefirstrun.com itself. We'd love to hear from you. And that's it, Matt. So let's take an extended break, and we will see you all soon. Hic manibus optim!
I'm sorry? What was that again?
I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.